Right, with Punch-Out Boxing. Delight to be here with Ziyad Almaayouf.
Yes, thank
Did
you,
I
Zizo.
did I get my
Ziyad
Arabic
Almaayouf.
pronunciation right?
Yeah, you're good. Anything works.
So Ziyad, you're the first fighter signed to Skills Challenge, and I guess the next step in your career, fighting away from home. So away from home comforts. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, of course. You never get used to your dreams coming true or your prayers getting answered, and this is what's happening to me here today. I'm fighting in Warsaw, Poland, on the undercard of Usyk. Someone who I idolized and grew up watching. And of course, I am the first athlete signed to Skill Challenge Promotions, and I'm only here because of God first, and Skill Challenge Promotions after that. Prince Khalid has changed my life completely, has given me, my dreams, and Skill Challenge Promotions as well as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He's been a big supporter, and the Minister of Sports, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Faisal. All these people. I'm here as not only as a fighter or a boxer for Saudi Arabia, but also a representative and a spokesperson for Saudi Arabia, a representative for Vision 2030, in which the biggest pillar in is sports, and I'm one of those individual athletes that get to carry that.
Yeah, well, some responsibility on your shoulders.
It's a lot of pressure, but it's a big privilege.
Indeed. Can you just tell us a bit about your boxing background? Because I guess Saudi Arabia doesn't have much of an amateur scene. So yeah, how did you come to find yourself in professional boxing?
Professional boxing, okay, has come to find me at this point. That's why it's been so impossible for Arab athletes to come through the pro ranks. It's been impossible for a Saudi Arabian athlete to come through the pro ranks, and it's humbling to be the first Saudi Arabia to do it internationally, and the first local Arab, the first Arab locally trained to turn professional internationally as well, to do it the way we're doing it. And that's just a big blessing from God. But my amateur experience wasn't that huge. In the Arab world, between Saudi Arabia or wherever I'd go and train and try to fight, we used to just have 4 fights a year. States, nationals, national team qualifiers, and one of them throughout the year would be like a hosted friendly. 4 fights a year we used to have, and minimal equipment, minimal boxing IQ. We didn't even have boxing on TV, so you would never accidentally fall in love with it or accidentally fall in love with some tricks. You had to be a huge fan of boxing already to know what's happening. And that's just what I had to do. This is the thing. I love you asked that question, because people don't understand how difficult it is mentally more than physically to now have to work 2 times and 3 times as hard only to be as good as the people you are trying to get there. But I'm just confident that eventually working 2 times and 3 times as hard will get me as good and eventually better, because they won't be able to catch up.
Indeed. So you relocated to Los Angeles, is it, for your training?
I'm a student of the world. Buddy Mcgirt is all over the place, so I relocate wherever Coach Buddy is. I'm just a sponge soaking up everything Coach Buddy has, and wherever he goes, I go. So this time we were in Florida for 6 weeks, Manchester for 3 weeks, Liverpool for another 3 weeks. So we were all over the place. I did relocate to Los Angeles. I've been all over, man. It's huge, yeah. Just boxing.
Okay, so it's wherever Coach Buddy goes.
Wherever
you're
Coach
there.
Buddy goes, I put my foot there.
So, does that help you get a good variety of sparring?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big believer in just rolling with what is written for me. Our job is to, sometimes what we want to happen is not what is written to happen. Our job is to adapt to what's written, and that's what I'm just rolling with. I'm confident that my work will, reap the rewards of whatever is to come. So I'm just rolling with what is written. If it's written for me to keep going around, relocating from one place to another, to train there and fight there, yeah, and it's definitely a great experience. You get to see how the English fight, the Americans fight, the Europeans fight. You just get to get that experience, and more importantly, you get to get that network. You meet people, important people that you get to network and connect with, So it's been like a good journey physically, mentally, but sometimes emotionally. All of that moving around takes a toll on you.
Yeah, indeed. Since I've been following this game as a
Yeah,
media, seeing what
exactly.
you guys go through, it's mind blowing. Do your management or coach do they have any idea of about a particular route or plan, or is it literally just take it one fight at a time?
I'm going with whatever Prince Khalid and Skill Challenge Promotions go and choose for me. It's a big team. Everybody's collaborating with each other. But again, Prince Khalid treats me like a son. And the plans he has for me are not only plans to make my dreams come true, but also his dreams come true of seeing the first Saudi Arabian professional boxer, the first Saudi Arabian professional world champion, unified champion, undisputed champion, two-weight, three-weight, four-weight world champion. I'm here to do it all, but it's teamwork. I have a manager in Paul Smith Jr., which is insane, and I have a coach in Buddy Mcgirt, a Hall of Famer who's been there, done that.
Yeah, indeed. Buddy, one of my favourite fighters growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what a man,
he
what a
was
man.
incredibly skilled, and it's great to see him passing that knowledge
Definitely.
on. Um, I wonder if you could tell me a bit about you mentioned the Saudi 2030 plan. We've seen recently there's this novelty fight between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. That's not Skills Challenge, some other organisation in the kingdom.
Yeah, well, Saudi Arabia's main focus and job right now is to be attracting worldwide and huge events to Saudi Arabia. The idea of Vision 2030 is not only to open up the country for those who live in it, but to also open up the country to those who want to live in it or want to come and visit it. So, by bringing big events to Saudi Arabia, you kind of take away that sense of discomfort that someone might feel if they're going to a place for the first time or they're going to interact with people for the first time.
Yeah.
You might just base it based on what you've heard, what you've seen on the news, all of this and that. But once you go, that discomfort and that maybe worry is taken away because you've been to that type of specific event before. You've been to a Formula One before. You've been to a music festival before. You've been to a boxing fight, football games. You've been there before. So when you're put all in the same setting, despite differences in race, backgrounds, culture, you get to interact better. That's the bigger vision of bringing bigger events to Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia all works at one. This event isn't Skill Challenge Promotions, but it's Saudi Arabia, and we're all one.
Well, yeah, inshallah. I hope that
Inshallah.
powers the kingdom forward. Just wondered, as you mentioned there, you've gone around these different training camps around the world. Have you found like a big cultural difference that you've noticed in some of these countries which have a great sporting tradition?
Mm.
Me myself being from South Asian descent, culturally never had that sort of drive, ambition for sports. Sports are just seen as something, it's playtime. You don't take it too seriously.
Mm.
Have you seen that sort of big cultural difference between, say, how you grew up as a boxing fan in Saudi?
No, definitely not. Where I've been, because I've been around boxing and athletes and sports, I've seen that same passion, that same drive everywhere. But the thing about the Arab world in Saudi Arabia is as soon as you do something historically, and most of the historical stuff is always done abroad, being the first to do something abroad, being that flag bearer abroad, win, lose, draw, do it well, don't do it well. As soon as you go out and you do it, they are behind you in whatever you do. They support you 100%. The passion is crazy, So that's what gives me life. That what gives me life. So the Arab world in Saudi Arabia is definitely different in the way they support, especially the football games, all of that. But that gives me that push and drive, and it's a different life there.
Tell me, what's your dream then? How do you want your career to go? Tell me a dream achievement.
Well, look, my biggest dream and my most important dream is to help make it easier on those who come after me to have their dreams come true. I didn't have a blueprint coming up. I had because I'm the first to do it, I'm going to be the first to make a lot of mistakes. So the biggest dream for me would be when I see other people having their dreams come true easier than I had to do it, and even better than I had to do it. So the main focus right now is just to be the first ever world champion for Saudi Arabia, the first ever unified world champion for Saudi Arabia, first ever undisputed champion for Saudi Arabia, first ever multi-weight world champion for Saudi Arabia, but even most importantly is to be the biggest and best people's champ outside of the ring. What am I representing outside of the ring? Who am I outside of the ring to the people? I feel like we have a multi-generational story right now, and we're watching a multi-generational figure coming up in the sport where it's larger than life. It's bigger than boxing every time we fight. So I'm just truly humbled by it, and it's grateful. And I would be the first ever. All of the stuff I said, not only for Saudi Arabia, but the Arab world as a whole. So it's truly amazing, and a privilege and a blessing from God. And I have to earn it every day to be worthy of it every day.
And what's your hometown in Saudi Arabia?
Riyadh.
Riyadh. So,
Yeah.
big title fight in, I forget the name of your national stadium. The one with the
The
traditional
man he
tent. Biggest criminals.
Yeah, yeah. And then the man that makes the dreams come true. Big axe. These are the dreams. That's what dreams are made of, That's the love. And that's the Zizo name, so be prepared to hear it all over.
Indeed, you're in the right company.
Yes, thank
Right,
God.
Ziyad,
Thank God.
pleasure speaking to you for the first
My
time.
pleasure.
We look forward to Saturday night and seeing where your journey goes.
Yes, let's do it.